it's Peggy Noe with Ellie, my little Yorkshire Terrier Ellie. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and we're here today to make a card and talk about a few things that are going on. And I'm so happy that you've joined me today. We're going to have some fun. And how have you been doing? I know we have a stay-at-home order here in California. And so I'm wondering if you have a stay-at-home order where you are. Let me know by leaving it in the comments. I'm going to look over there now and so I can start watching the comments. I would love to know what's going on where you live and what you're doing to keep yourself busy. I am making cards, lots of cards, and it really is keeping me busy, but I have to admit, I have slept in late a few days. Yes, I really have. I've really enjoyed it, slept in late, had a good time, relaxing, and let me just turn off my sound here. Okay, now we're all set. So I thought I would start with a few announcements from Stampin' Up! Do you want to hear the announcements? Because they're important. So Ellie and, I forgot to say that Ellie and I are casual today. We're very casual today. She didn't get a bow. My hair's kind of up. We're just in a casual mode because we're at home a lot. So we're just cash. So I'm going to put her down while I give you these announcements that are important announcements. So this is the last week of Celebration, and Celebration ends on next Tuesday, March 31st, and it's been going on for 3 months, but they've added more free gifts this week. It's kind of like going out with a bang, and some of those free gifts are things that are normally in our annual catalog, but are free now for the last week of Celebration. You have to use a special number to get them as a free gift. So, hey Sue, how are you doing? Good to see you. So, the last week of Celebration, you can click on my store. There's a link to my store right above this live video, and you can see everything that's on sale because they've added, that's a free gift. They've added a lot more stuff for either minimum $50 order or minimum $100 order. And I don't want you to miss this great sale. And I'm thinking, if you wanted to stock up, do you need paper, cardstock? Do you need ink? Those kind of standard things. This is the time to do it and be able to get a free gift. And I wanted to remind you, every year we have a new set of in colors that come on, and one set goes off. And so these particular in colors are going to be leaving us. Let me see if I can get them so I can show you. So they'll be leaving us on May 31st. And I noticed that I think some of the inks are already running low. So if you're interested in these colors, please order them now. It's such a great time because you'll be able to get a free gift with a $50 order. So get your inks that go with this, your ink refills, your paper, your ribbons that match, because then they're going to be gone. And the other thing I want to remind you is as of March 31st, it will be the end of the great joining special that we've had. And if you can see, let me see what direction to go. Here we are. Over here, the Sweet Stampers. That's my team of demonstrators, and I have hobby demonstrators and I have business demonstrators, and I love them all, and I would love for you to be a part of my team. And it's a great time to join. You get so much free stuff during this, as long as it's before Celebration ends. After that, you can still join, but you don't get as many free things. You still get free stuff. And one of the great free things is this fabulous little mini trimmer, mini cutter that I'm going to use today. We're going to use it today on our Facebook Live. So there's a lot of free stuff that you get for joining now. And I have a link right above this video for joining now. So do it before March 31st. Another announcement, starting on the 1st of April is going to be an early release of a suite called Ornate Gardens. And it's a suite that's going to be in the annual catalog. And I want you to see a sample card. I have posted it on my blog But look at these beautiful frames. These are some beautiful dies in this ornate garden suite, and you can purchase the items individually. It's an early release as of April 1st, so I'll show some more sneak peeks next week, so be looking for those. And then did you see I had a little update to my blog? I got some flowers on there. It's also at the top here of the Facebook Live. Do you see those pretty flowers? Did you notice that changed out? Well, it's because I had what my computer gal calls a rebranding. I mean, I'm still here, it's still me, but that's what she calls it, as a rebranding. And so go over to my blog if you have time, pop over there and see the new flowers, the new look. I really like it, watercolor flowers. Okay, so we're ready for our card for today. Today we're going to make a cherry blossom card with a mini envelope. And do you ever call envelopes envies? I do sometimes, I know. So anyway, a cherry blossom card with a mini envelope. And I'm going to turn you down now so that you can see the project. And I'm going to have to do a couple of things, with the camera so that you can see what's going on. And we can be right side up here. Okay. Hopefully you can see there, and I'm going to try to get it just right. And here is the card we're going to make today. This card uses part of the Parisian suite that's been in the mini catalog. Let me turn it just a little bit. Okay, and here are the stamp sets, the Forever Blossoms and the Parisian Beauty. We're going to use some stamps from both sets, and we're also going to use the Cherry Blossoms dies and to make this really cute card. And I thought it was really cute because we're adding this time a little tiny envelope, an envy with a little bit of a letter coming out. Isn't that cute? Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna start with a standard card base, and I have all my figures, all my measurements up here for you. This is your standard 8.5 by 5.5 Whisper White card base, and we fold it in half at 4 1/4, and we're just gonna burnish the center there with our bone folder. Now we're using a designer series paper that's from the Parisian suite. It's called Parisian Blossoms designer series paper. So we're going to put that on with our multi-purpose glue, and then we're going to few minutes we're going to be doing some coloring with Stampin' Blends. So we're just going to put this. I think I'm going to turn it right side up. It looks like those are little pictures of the Eiffel Tower. And I want to be sure to have the Eiffel Tower right side up. Okay, there we go. So the first thing we have to do is create our little letter. And one thing I love about the Parisian Beauty stamp set is that it has a beautiful handwriting type of stamp. I love these. It's a vintage look, and even though I don't think the card is that vintage, but I love these. And I'm using a little piece of crumb cake cardstock for the envelope insert, which is the letter. It's 2 1/4 by 3 inches. And I'm just going to get a little ink on my stamp, and then we're just going to stamp the words straight across a couple of times so it looks like a real letter that somebody wrote. Like that. Okay. Now we're going to get out our envelope. And what I've used for an envelope today is one of our 3 by 3 envelopes. And it looks, let me just pick this up. It fits and looks pretty cute on the front of our card. And the little letter is going to stick down right inside like that. But one thing I've done is I'm going to cut off that sticky part of the envelope. I want to see if I can get you a little bit closer. Let me see so that you can see a little bit more. Okay, I'll try to stay in the area. So I want to cut off this sticky part, the part that you would lick. And I'm going to use my new adorable mini cutter to cut that little edge off that envelope like that. And I just press down on the clear. And this is one of the things you get free when you join Stampin' Up! During Celebration. So I've got my envelope cut down, and normally I would want to round the edges, but it ends up there's so much going on this little card that it really isn't noticeable. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up just a bit so you can see really well. I'm going to glue my envelope down onto the card, and I'm going to place it down with the corners almost touching the end down here. So I'm going to get out my glue. I love cards that have little envelopes or little things on top, little kind of active things. I think they're really cute. And I'm going to put a little glue on the top, on the little flap. And again, just angle my envelope because I want it to be angled on the card. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our little letter inside, just poking up. I want to poke it up just a little bit above the flap like that. And so what I'm going to do is put glue just on the lower section, just to keep it in place so it doesn't come out. And I'm just going to lift up that envelope and move that down so the glue is just on the lower section there. And there we go. We have a little envelope on a card with a letter. Isn't that cute? Now the next thing we're going to do, oops, I forgot something important. I forgot to tie a bow around there, which I had on my sample. Okay, we'll make do. So the next thing part is to get those beautiful cherry blossoms on there. And for the cherry blossoms, we're going to use, again, the only ink we use is Crumb Cake on this project. We're using Stampin' Blends in a minute, the alcohol markers, but the only ink we use is Crumb Cake. So I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, let me see, 5.5 by 3.5. And I'm just going to stamp my blossoms right on there. I mean, they don't really even need coloring, do they? Aren't they just gorgeous? I love this stamp. But we are going to color them in with Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to make the blossoms petal pink. And so I've got my dark petal pink and my light petal pink Stampin' Blends. I'm going to start with the light ones. And I'm just going to go in and really, you can be really precise. I'm going to get my glasses on just a minute here. You can be super precise, but you don't really have to. I'm just kind of coloring in the petals there. And we're gonna do some other things to really bring them to life, but I like to get the light base color on first. And then I do other things with the darker colors. So I'm just coloring in my blossoms. I use the brush end for this. I like the brush end. To me, it's easier to use. And one thing to remember is you don't have to push down. If you push down too hard, any more than just very lightly, you'll really ruin your brush end. As I was learning, I had to purchase a couple more sets of these because I had pressed too hard. So it's a very light touch. And then we're going to get these little buds. Okay, now we're going to go back in with the dark. This is the way I like to do it, is go back in with the dark, still the brush end, and I'm going to color the center of each flower just arbitrarily like that because the centers are always darker. And then Stampin' Up! Makes it so easy for us. All these shaded areas, we just go in and color with the dark. You just kind of go in with the dark, and you see how it's bringing the petals rather, to life right away. Just color those little lines, and it just comes right to life. Here I'm coloring in a bit more, shading. It's just shading, but it makes the cards really pretty. And on the little buds, just color over those little shade lines. Very nice. See, it's already come to life. I might put a few more in here. Now I'm going to go back with the dark Crumb Cake Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to use the pointed end this time. And because I want the little stamen, do you call them? I want them to show out. I think it makes it look a little bit more lifelike. And so I'm just tapping the little dots that are already there. And then I'm just very lightly drawing lines to the center. Just very, very light. Like that. And it really brings out your flower. It makes it really alive. Don't you think? Put a couple more in there. And here we've got more little dots. I don't know about you, but I really enjoy coloring with my Stampin' Blends. It's so peaceful. It's very peaceful. Okay, now we're going to go back in with our green and color our leaves. This is light old olive. And we're going to just color our leaves in like this. And again, I take the light first, and then I'm going to go back in and do some shading with the dark. And one thing I've noticed is it really comes to life if you just pull down and put a little bit of color on the stem. There, it just really brings that to life. And sometimes I just sit here with the radio on and I just color, and I'm probably not doing as precise of a job as I would be doing if I was sitting and doing that and didn't have an audience. How are you doing? Tell me how you're doing over on the side. I'm anxious to know while I'm coloring. How are all of you doing? Are you making a lot of cards? Let me know over on the comments. Oh, thank you, Sue. You like my flowers on my rebranding. Hey, Lori Taylor, how are you? I hope you're all doing well and not going too stir crazy. But I've been taking Ellie out. We've been going for a few little walks. So there, I'm getting my old olive green in. And don't forget your little petals here, your little buds. They have some little tiny leaves. Now we're going to go back in with dark old olive. And this time I'm going to use the pointed end again, which might be called, I don't know, the pen end or something. And you just go back in and draw these lines, just following the marks of the stamp. And I will tell you, we're going to go back in again with the light so it won't look so odd. But this adds a lot of depth to your card, to your project. So now I just go back in with the light on the brush end and brush over that. And it'll just force it to the back, but give it some great shading. Can you see how that's working? Isn't that nice? This is one wonderful thing about this Stampin' Blends. It looks like you are an artist, that you've done some fabulous things, and it's been so easy. There's really not that much work to it. And look at how that just blends together so nicely. There you go. Isn't that pretty? It looks like you've done a fabulous watercolor job. Okay, now the next thing to do is to cut this with our die. I'll show you the die, and it's kind of a large die that fits just like that right over the blossom. These are the cherry blossom dies. But what I have done for our purposes today to speed things up is I've gone ahead and cut out a flower with the dies. So we have that ready to put onto our card. If I can find my card. Oh, here it is. Okay. So here's our cute card with a little envy on it and the little letter. And to put our blossom on, one thing I wanted to do, the reason I didn't glue up here is because I wanted to just slip that leaf underneath there like that. Isn't that cute? And everything today is glued, no Stampin' Dimensionals, which is not a bad idea. It just doesn't need it. This doesn't need it, but I'm just going to put a little glue on all the parts here of the blossoms. Then I'm going to tuck that leaf just a tad bit under the letter and have it swing around like that. Isn't that cute? Oh, hey Kathy, thanks for the heart. Hey Linda. So that's how you do that. Now I wanted to make a little tiny sentiment, the friend sentiment, and it is so tiny. Look at that. Look how tiny that is. So I figured out a good way to do it. Let me just see if I can get my paper up here. Okay, so I took a large piece of crumb cake cardstock and I put it through my trimmer. And actually I can show you how I did it. So I put a large piece through the trimmer and I made sure just to leave out a tiny bit. And then you just cut the end off. It's better than trying to cut something tiny out of something tiny, if you know what I mean. Take a large piece, cut off, this is actually 3/8 of an inch. But it made it easy to get a nice straight piece there. Let me get my glasses back on. And we're going to stamp that tiny friend stamp again in our crumb cake ink. Remember, this is the only ink we're using on this project. Now I got a little extra ink over there. So now I'm just going to press down, and if I make a mistake, I've got plenty of cardstock to go. That's a little bit crooked, so I'm going to try to get it straighter. There we go. That's very straight. So we'll just close that up, and now because it's even, I know the top and bottom are even, it's really easy just to cut off the sides. That makes it easy to make a tiny, tiny sentiment. Now on my sample, I used linen thread and put a bow over here. For this one, since I kind of forgot about the linen thread, I think I'll just put my friend sentiment right there, and then I'll add some rhinestones. Let me see how I want it to be. I don't want it to be, it's kind of funny here, right? Because we have a lot of different angles, but I think I'll have it even with the card base. I hope you can see that. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue. Now, you could put mini Stampin' Dimensionals on this. You definitely could. But since I didn't bring them over, so I'm just going to see if I can get that even with the card, with the bottom there. And I think it's not too bad, maybe just a little more. There. And that doesn't look too different. Then we're going to, just to give it a little bling, we're going to go in with a few rhinestone basic jewels, because it's fun to add bling to our cards, isn't it? I love to. And I know you do too. And remember, it's good to add the number 3. So there we have our fun card with a little tiny envelope. I think it's just adorable. I hope you like it. Now, just to show you what you can do, on the sample card, I stamped some of the blossoms inside, and I stamped the beautiful large grouping of blossoms, the kind of branch on the envelope. I mean, this stamp is so gorgeous. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So there's your project, and it's a quick and easy card. It's fun. It kind of says, I'm sending you a note. And I think nowadays we can't send enough friend cards. I hope you're sending cards to your friends. I hope you're making and sending really cute cards. And I hope you're enjoying having time to craft. A lot of us have been looking for time to craft, and now we have it. I hope you're all strong and healthy. Please leave comments on the side and let me know if how you're doing. And just remember, Stampin' Up! Is open. Everything is available. And stock up before the end of celebration, because I don't want you to miss out on the fabulous free gifts. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Thank you for all those hearts. You guys have a great week, and I'll see you next Friday, okay? Okay, bye-bye. Let me see if I can turn it off. Okay, bye.